We got a ton of exciting WWE and AEW news, and we're going to talk about it all in today's video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Yango Show. Yes. Now I want to kick things off with a very exciting story surrounding JD McDonough and Finn Balor, because they are headed back to OTT Wrestling in Dublin, Ireland, and it's taking place on October 26, 2024. OTT is celebrating their 10th year anniversary as a company. And of course, Finn Balor and JD McDonough are returning to where it all started. And of course, this was approved by the WWE. Now, the official graphic for the announcement is JD McDonough and Finn Balor holding their World Tag Team Championship belts. And of course, the graphic does consist of the current Judgment Day color scheme, which is purple. Look, I want to be very honest with you guys. I've talked about this several times. When it comes to WWE being open to talent working with other companies, I think it is overall a positive thing. I think it's a great thing for the industry. It's a great thing for the wrestlers. And of course, most importantly, it's a great thing for the fans. WWE allowing this to be a thing is just so crazy to me, considering for the longest time it wasn't allowed. Finn Balor and JD McDonough, they might not even be wrestling at the show. Honestly, they might just be appearing on the show. And just that in itself is still really cool. Obviously, you got to be careful with talent working for other companies, because that does have, there is a potential risk of getting injured, especially JD McDonough and Finn Balor are part of a very, very big storyline. So you don't want to risk injury. We don't know if they will be wrestling on the show, if they plan on getting physical at the show, but OTT Wrestling did actually announce this. And of course, Irish Wrestling, big connection to WWE. Finn Balor and JD McDonough going there just makes a lot of sense. It's really dope to see that they've been announced. Obviously, we'll see how things go as time goes on. Maybe this will be the start of something new for WWE moving forward. But as always, you guys can let me know what you think down below. Some sad news for the WWE. If you're a fan of Pat McAfee, he did confirm today on social media, on Instagram, that this will be his last Monday Night Raw for a little bit. He says that he's very bummed out. He says, "Tonight will be my last trip to the wonderful WWE family for a while. All right, let's have a day. I'm bummed out. Football season is starting, which is awesome, but the WWE family is where I'm supposed to be. I know that, and I hope they do too." Now, we know that Joe Tessitore will be joining WWE Raw in early September. So what will WWE do from now until then? Obviously, we have no idea at this point, but it is important that we acknowledge that Pat McAfee, Michael Cole is a great combination of commentators. I really enjoy their work. Pat McAfee doing college football, obviously it's understandable. Maybe this isn't a bad thing. Honestly, like the more and more that I think about this, maybe Pat McAfee coming back every, WrestleMania season, I think that could actually keep things fresh. I think sometimes, especially if you're looking at WWE doing the Netflix thing, I think if you're the WWE and you're constantly refreshing the voice of the show, it might actually be a positive thing. I don't know. At first I said it wasn't necessarily a positive thing. Now I'm starting to lean towards the idea that it is. I do like Pat McAfee on commentary. I think he makes it fun. I think he brings out the best in Michael Cole. Obviously, with him doing his stuff with ESPN and college football, that's also very important to him, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think he does a really good job at that. But at the same time, too, I'm going to miss Pat McAfee. That's just the truth. I'm going to miss Pat McAfee on commentary because it doesn't seem so forced. It doesn't seem so scripted. Even if Triple H is in their ear, man, it doesn't feel like that. And I just feel like that kind of emotion and that comedy and that feel that they bring to commentary just lightens up the mood a little bit. And for Pat McAfee taking a break from WWE, it always sucks. But of course, we should expect him back next year once college football is done. Unless something drastic changes, that seems to be the plan. So you guys can let me know what you think down below on that. But that does bring us to our next topic. Back to more positivity. Julia has wrestled her last match for Marigold, and it appears that she is in fact ready for the WWE, because it looks like, that's just really the case. She's committed to all of her dates. She's done it all. Now she is prepped for WWE. WWE could bring her in immediately. Maybe they save her debut for No Mercy. I'm not sure. But it feels like for a while we've been talking about Julia coming to WWE, and it's so strange that all these months have gone by. And maybe this is just a good reminder as to how fast time is actually gone. But a lot of this stemmed from Julia being at WrestleMania 40, and WWE announced her, and obviously they gave her a lot of love that weekend. So I don't know if this is a situation where maybe time is just moving so fast and it just flew by and you don't realize it. But what a great time for Julia to get into the WWE. WWE will be on the CW for NXT, I should say. NXT will be moving to the CW. You got a lot of things cooking in the women's division, a lot of big storylines. You also have Stephanie Vaquer coming in, who is going to be a major acquisition for the company. And then you got to figure in Delta as well, who is expected to be coming soon. So WWE is getting all the visas and all that stuff ready, but Julia's debut is being prepared to happen very soon. And, you know, look, I think WWE would be very smart to have her work Marigold from time to time. I think WWE having that presence in Japan helps WWE and it helps Marigold. But also what's really good here is for Julia to come into WWE, you know, she's going to be great. She's going to be successful. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But if you have these working relationships, if she ever gets that itch to go back to Japan or WWE wants to do some cross-promotional stuff, there is that opportunity that is there, and I'm super excited about it. And that leads us to our final topic. Bryan Danielson's throwing a curveball to absolutely everybody. He is now no longer under contract to AEW. He did an interview with Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, and he says that he is no longer under contract. He's just simply not under contract. He says not a single person has reached out to him. People who know me know that I don't really look at my phone very much. It is a blessing and a curse, and it allows me to be more in the moment with my wife and kids and all these different things. But when people really want to get a hold of me, I'm not available. Right now, there's almost 4,000 unread text messages. There's also a lot of missed calls, so there could have been somebody in there. In regards to continuing with AEW, Bryan Danielson says, Tony and I have talked. I'll always pick up the phone when he calls as far as if I'm by myself. The first thing I have to do when I'm done wrestling, the thing that's been my priority, is to get my neck better. It probably involves some sort of neck surgery sooner rather than later, so that will be my first order of business, and then I'll help AEW where I can. I love AEW, and so I want to help as much as I can, and as much as they want my help, I'm willing to participate. There's some other stuff in this interview, really good stuff. You guys should definitely watch it. Just a couple quick thoughts. Bryan Danielson's not under contract. We know that it is career versus title at Wembley Stadium. Will the show end in a feel-good moment, or will it end with pure sadness? We really don't know. The way Bryan Danielson is talking publicly about this makes me think that he could try to be working us, because ultimately Bryan Danielson could be re-signing or may have already re-signed with the company. But let's just say that's not the case. Let's just take his word for what it is, because I think that's something we should all do. The fact that Bryan Danielson is at the tail end of his career absolutely sucks. That's just the reality. That is the reality. And I want Bryan Danielson to keep wrestling. Obviously, health is a big concern, so you got to factor that in. But I feel like Bryan Danielson will be with AEW for a very long time, regardless if he's a full-time wrestler, regardless if he's having matches or not. We know he's part of the disciplinary committee. I would love to see Bryan Danielson, if he is stepping aside, I would love to see him more integrated backstage with AEW. I feel like Tony Khan owes it to him. And I feel like AEW's fan base, you know, deserves Bryan Danielson being involved, because this is a guy with so much experience. He left WWE when he didn't have to. There was no need for him to leave WWE. He didn't have issues in WWE. He didn't have drama in WWE, but he still chose AEW because he believes in the grander picture, which is a better wrestling industry. And obviously, AEW being involved in wrestling is a win for the industry. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I think Bryan Danielson is making this main event even more unpredictable, which is never a bad thing. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think. That is the Ango Show.